Welcome back to CFB Nation. I'm your host, Nino Brown. I got my guy, Deep Fried Draft, Brian Bosarge. And when you see us on the screen, it's the Garnet Roost. I promise to you, this will be a positive show. Probably our most positive show that has been all year. Mr. Bosarge, how are we doing tonight?
We're doing okay, Nino. Yeah, I mean, this is almost like, I come from the NFL draft world, and almost every team after they have their draft class come in, they're universally positive, right?
Yeah.
We're overwhelmed. This is the draft class that's going to take our team to where we need to be, and it's similar that way to recruiting. We live in a different world now, college football, where we've got how many guys here? 1, 3, 6, 9, 12, like 18 guys here.
Oh, yeah.
Percentages say 9 of them's not going to be here in about 2 years, right? Yeah. I mean, the way things are now, but we can't look at that. They're here now. They're signed, and we're going to talk about those guys coming up, man. But it's been a while since we last came on the show. It's been wild, man, with the transfer portal. And we got a lot better, I think, with the portal. I think we have netted much positive from the portal than we lost here, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we lost, and this is no disrespect to some of these gentlemen, but we lost some. They were insignificant to us this year, right? And I hope that they get time somewhere else. I wish them well. But I think a lot of the questions that we kind of had, at the end, there's still one glaring issue. They addressed it a little bit, but it's still like inexperience. It's going to be coming to that position. But I think a lot of the positions that we were kind of worried about, I think they hit here between, the portal and recruiting.
Yeah, I think so too. And, we're going to go, like I said, we're going to go through these guys that signed today, but there's some guys that are going to have to play early for sure.
Yeah.
That's in this class. And for the most part, I think some of these guys are going to enroll early.
Yes.
So they're going to be able to go through spring and get acclimated to the offense. So that'll be good. I don't think they're done in the portal either. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. There's a couple of names out there that I think they're still working on. One that I was really surprised to see, and I didn't put it in the rundown, but I kind of want to get your take on it a little bit.
Oh, I got 2 guys I want to ask you about.
Okay. So let's start. Let's look right now as the class stands today. For those who don't follow recruiting or college football actively, that might be watching this. This is the early signing day, which is really signing day.
Yes.
The official signing day is in the first Wednesday in February. That is now for basically become the group of 5 to get the guys that aren't signed by other schools and a few stragglers aside that are waiting it out. But for the most part, it's done. The hay's in the barn, if you will.
Yeah.
We'll get the worst out of the way here. Rivals has South Carolina currently 29th, which is good enough for 11th in the SEC. There's 16 teams for those keeping track. 24/7 has them 20th, which is good enough for 10th in the SEC. On3 has them 20th as well, 11th in the SEC. But hey, let's just look at ESPN here. ESPN has them 17th and 9th in the SEC. So obviously ESPN knows what they're doing, and everybody else is slacking behind here.
Oh, man. I think they did well. Okay.
I do too.
I do too. What the rankings are. I think that the Gamecocks did well. There's a few 4-stars in this group that I'm ecstatic about. And, I've been on the Reno train for a while. So, listen, I think the line still needs a little bit of work, but I think they did well.
Well, let's start with the offensive line because that's the thing I believe we talked about the most during the season here. And let's start with Josiah Thompson, right?
Good.
The Dillon, South Carolina, 6'7", listed 286. Got that 5th star from 2 different recruiting services, including ESPN, and their final rankings. So to get a 5-star potential offensive tackle prospect to come in, you have to expect, and I think I don't necessarily know that I want him to start on the left side right away, but I think that's where it's headed. And moving Tree Babalade over to the right side, I think that's where we're going here. And he's going to play early, no doubt about it, right?
Oh yeah, he's day one starter. He has. He's a dude. They are hurting so bad at the line where this guy is an impact primetime player, and you get that 5-star. You're a dude. Like he's gonna come in. I think you're all right. I was a little worried about is he gonna play left tackle? Is that the blind side here? You know what I mean? Like what's the deal? Man, you watch him. I know high school to college is a different ballgame. I get that, but when you watch him. He looks like a man among boys. He manhandles defensive end linebackers. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen. But I think if out of this class, between him and the guy on the other side of the line, I think those two guys are going to be day one starters.
Yeah. And you got the other two offensive line prospects, all from the state of South Carolina. So it was a good year in the state of South Carolina for offensive linemen, which worked in our favor here. But Cam Pringle from Dorchester, South Carolina, 6'7", 328. And Blake Franks from Greenville, South Carolina, 6'5", 310, both coming in this class. Now, I'm not sure where those guys slot in. Are they tackles? Are they guards? Is one of them a center? I have no idea. But I'm guessing they'll figure that out as they go. But
I think I'm gonna call it now. We're gonna talk about it a lot in the spring. I'm gonna tell you, Cam Pringle might put Trey Babalage on the bench
or inside.
Yeah, whatever, but he might not be playing tackle.
I don't care. Just get the best 5 on the field, right?
I'm with you.
So that's the thing. And we did lose another guy who was injured this season, Jalen Nichols. He entered the transfer portal today. So there's some guys out. Gargiulo's into the NFL or
trying
out of college football. Let's just say that. But we also have a freshman All-American on the offensive line. As much as we talked about him, Trevon Bowe was a freshman All-American this year, so you have to think he's going to compete for a starting job or if not have one at one of the guard positions. So, these guys, I mean, it's very hard, especially in the SEC now. And we talked about the schedule a few weeks ago, and it's rough. So these guys, if they're going to play, it's right from the frying pan into the fire. It's right out of the chute. So we'll see how they go. The other obvious big signing here was the other 5-star in this class, Dylan Stewart, defensive end out of Washington, D.C. D.C.'s been good to him. Last year, Harbor. This year, Dylan Stewart, 6'5", 245, able to hold on to him. He'll be coming off the edge, and you have to imagine that he'll be in that rotation early and often. They added a guy in the portal we'll talk about a little bit later as well, but all of the main core defensive linemen come back. So TJ Sanders, we're still waiting on Boogie Huntley, but I got a feeling he's going to end up
I heard he said he was coming back. Wasn't that?
I haven't heard on Huntley yet. Tonka Hemingway, yes.
Tonka, yes, okay.
Yes, right. But they haven't heard from Huntley yet. So I imagine that'll be coming soon. We'll see. But Dylan Stewart right into the rotation day one.
Yes. I think Stewart on the edge might get if they keep the scheme that they ended the year with defensively. Okay. I think Dylan on the edge is going to help my guy Pup.
Yeah. You watched his high school tape. Obviously, I have not.
Yes.
Compare him to the last 5-star defensive end they recruited, Jadeveon Clowney.
Right there. The only thing is he's not as like Clowney was super explosive. At
man.
The blow of a whistle, right? Dylan's not. Dylan's explosive in that short range. Like when he gets close to you, if you aren't ready, you're on your butt. And it's fast. And he has a swim move. Like he has maneuvers in his arsenal already that I think if he can fine tune in this first year, he could be a threat. Clowney was a dude. Clowney blew off people's helmets. Okay. But at the talent level, I think they're right. I don't see the explosiveness. I'm not saying he can't find it, but I don't see it right off the rip.
this is your guy right here at quarterback, right? They have one quarterback in this class, and he's been basically the ringleader. He's been the lead recruiter. He might as well have been recruiting coordinator for South Carolina at this point. Dante Reno out of Cheshire, Connecticut, right down the road from Nino there. Yeah. I assume. I don't know.
It's like 3 hours.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Dante Reno, man, just big numbers there this year. He was an Elite 11 participant, one of the better quarterbacks out there. I think he's going to compete, right? I'm not giving Sellers the job, or I think there's some transfers we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about them in a minute. But so right now, those are the two guys, right? They might be the only two quarterbacks on scholarship at this point. I'm not because Tanner Bailey and Colton Gaudier left.
Yes.
So they may be the only two quarterbacks on the roster right now.
I think as of right now they are. That's why I think we're going to hit a guy a little later on in the show because they want to vet. I've heard it multiple times. But yeah, I think Reno. If for some reason they get the guy that I don't want, that I'm hearing, I don't want to break it yet. But if they get that guy, I think there's a legitimate chance that Sellers and Reno could push him for the spot.
Okay. We'll talk about that a little bit when we get to the portal. I'm a big fan of the tight end position. So when I see a big 6'5", 230-pound guy at the tight end position, I immediately get excited. I want to see some of this Michael Smith from Savannah, Georgia, 4-star tight end prospect.
Anytime you can steal a big body like that from Georgia, right? Georgia's known for having them big fellas on the edge there in the tight end spot. Yo, I'm with it. They're getting the big bodies. They've been doing very well when it comes to the tight end position in the last couple of years. So keep stacking them. I'm with it.
Linebacker is all of a sudden looking like a strong position. It was we were not looking so good about it here about halfway through the season. We were talking, chatting back and forth leading up to the show. We're feeling really good about that linebacker spot now. We got two more here. Freshman, and this guy, Wendell Gregory from Marietta, Georgia, 4-star. His size listing here, man, makes me think he's going to be a defensive end.
Yeah, I think he's going to be playing that role.
We're looking at 6'4", 220 right now. That's before he gets in that college weight room, right? We're going to get him up to 240. He's he's hand in the dirt rushing the pass.
100%. Has to be, especially it's going to be a crowded room, and you need guys up front.
Right. Yeah. That the defensive end to me is more of an immediate spot that needs help than a stand-up linebacker. But we got another guy who I think is going to fill that role. Norfolk, Virginia, 4-star linebacker Fred Johnson, 6'3", 200. I think he'll come in there, and help out that linebacker room early.
Oh, absolutely. What's crazy is I think in this linebacker recruiting room, I think they hit one at every phase, like every level of the defense. Because the next guy you're going to talk about, I think he might be playing in that slot role.
Yep, and I think are we talking about our athlete here out of Ellisville, Georgia, Jalewis Solomon?
Yeah,
big time player here, 6'1", 190. He's definitely going in the secondary. Mm-hmm. And is it going to be safety? You think he's going to be a nickel for us?
Yes, I think he's going to be. I think because you have my guy, right, Kilgore. You have Nick's coming back, correct?
Yes, in the morning. Yes.
Right. So you have Nick and Kilgore.
Everybody back there except for Marcellus Dial is back. DQ Smith is back.
Okay.
Or hasn't portaled out yet anyway.
I don't think
so. I don't either. So he'll be back. Keenan Nelson will be back as well. O'Donnell Fortune will be back.
Okay.
So
I'll take that. Yeah.
Outside of Marcellus Dial, everybody that played significant snaps last year in the secondary, and maybe not Spalding, he might be out of eligibility. So, but everybody should be back for that.
When they let Kilgore play free safety, and they had Nick playing strong safety, right? Where one guy, they excelled. Both of them gentlemen excelled, and they did well. When you put Kilgore in the nickel, not very well, right?
And like I said, when they went to the 3-3-5 defense there and you allowed DQ Smith and Eamon Wari to basically come down, or I'm sorry, Kilgore and Eamon Wari come down and let DQ Smith be the back guy, the defense improved tenfold, man. I mean, it was just a big. So getting Solomon in there, nickel was a position that they sorely lacked. If this guy can come in and play early, it'll be super helpful. A couple other DBs, or one other DB that signed, Kelvin Hunter from Florence, South Carolina, 3-star. I see 3-star. I immediately think that this guy's probably not going to play a lot early. Maybe not. You know, I mean, Eamon Wari, I think, was a 3-star and ended up starting as a true freshman. So it doesn't mean everything, but, you know, we'll see how it goes. Defensive tackle here from, he was a JUCO transfer. Jerome Simmons, 6'5", 320. He'll come in, and anytime you got a JUCO guy come in, you expect they're built, ready to go. He'll go right in that rotation. Absolutely. And they need some guys to help, because that was the other thing, man. As the season, the Sanders, Boogie, Hemingway, man, they were playing too many snaps. They need guys to keep them rotated, keep them fresh. So Simmons will help that out when he comes in. Skip, we got one running back in this class, one that we're still waiting on. We'll talk about him in a minute. But Matthew Fuller, Jessup, Georgia, 5'10", 196, a 3-star running back, signing today. I missed another linebacker, David Boosie, Savannah, Georgia, 6 foot, 200-pound linebacker, 3-star player as well. I don't know a whole lot about him, but 2 wide receivers we want to talk about. One just signed today. DeBron Gatling, Alpharetta, Georgia, 6'1", 181. Don't know a whole lot about him. Hadn't seen much on him until he heard his name yesterday, signed today. But the big guy here from Greenville, South Carolina, 6 foot, 165, speed right here, right? Mazio Bennett. This guy's going to play early.
Oh, give me. Let's. When the lowest yard per catch you had in the season was 17, I want all of it. This kid is a playmaker. He is an open field monster. If he gets in front of you, see you later. It's over. You ain't catching him. This kid, we need a guy that kind of replaced the Juice Wells role. You're looking at a kid that maybe in a year or two that could be popping off.
And the 16th and final player that signed today might be the one that plays the most.
Mr. Love.
Mason Love, the kicker. I mean, he's only rated as a 2-star, but he's a kicker. I think that's their highest ranking as a 2-star, right? So,
yeah, exactly.
But Mason Love from Riverside, Missouri. From everything I've read, everybody is, from the high school to the college level, raving about this guy's chance for success in the SEC. And he immediately goes in and competes with Herrera, I think, is the guy that came back, immediately competes with him for the kicking role as Mitch Jeter transferred out.
Listen, kicking competition, I'm all for it, right? Like listen, these guys get complacent. Kickers get too complacent, and they kind of fall off. I'm with a little bit of competition, and the kid's got the perfect name, right? Give me all the love. I need all the love when it comes to getting them
easy NIL deals right there, right?
100%, right? Let's go. I'm with it.
All right. So it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows today, though. We did have one flipped on us. Braden Lee, defensive back out of Springdale, Maryland, been committed with South Carolina for a while. Flipped today, signed with his home state school of Maryland, but a 4-star player, 6'1", 162 cornerback. Could have used him.
You could have used him?
Could have used him.
At 162 pounds. I'm afraid he wouldn't have seen the field for 2 years.
Man, Emmanuel Forbes was a first-round draft pick and weighed that.
Daniel Forbes is an outlier. How many first round draft picks?
I don't disagree, but man, I look at some of these heights and weights, man. It's like I don't trust.
I just think an SEC at 160 pounds, I'm a little nervous that yes, 4-star, I'm with it. Like we could use it. It just I'm afraid at that weight, 6'1", 160. I'm 165 at 5'6". Okay, so give me, they're putting 7 more inches on it. Man, you look like a beanpole out there.
Man, I ain't been 165 since I was in middle school. If that, if then.
Hey, I got good metabolism. That's all I can tell you.
God bless you, son. All right, we're still waiting on one guy, Daniel Hill, running back out of Meridian, Mississippi. Last week, Crystal Ball prognostications all had him South Carolina. Yesterday, gets some Mississippi State in there. So, but there's still, everybody's leaning 60% South Carolina. I don't know if he's waiting till February or this is just a delay. I don't know what his story is. But I will say this, at the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star Classic this past weekend, after he scored a touchdown, he flashes his hands up wearing South Carolina gloves. I don't know. Listen, doesn't mean anything.
No, it doesn't. But I follow the trail of signing day and these recruits and these reporters. And listen, when they start showing gloves in the pocket, right, wearing some kind of neckband that says colors or whatever it may be, I don't know. We got comment in the group here. Says he think we move on from Hill. He says RB room is filled now. It's very possible. It is very possible, but I like a crowd and I like competition, especially when there's no guarantees.
Running back room is never filled.
Right?
I mean, and seriously, look at this past season. And against Clemson, we had, 2 guys that were healthy to carry the football, and one of them shouldn't have been allowed to carry the football after the first quarter.
Yeah, one of them I think was bagging groceries early,
So, I mean, there's never enough. You can never have enough of these guys, right? It's just, can you keep them on the team in this day and age? We'll see. I mean, Daniel, bring him on is all I can say, because, hell, next year you might have more guys portaling out. So, you don't know.
You never know.
Right.
But I see where he's coming from. I get it, but we did well in this next topic that we're going to talk about. So maybe that's where he's saying we're a little crowded.
Yeah. So, you know what? We'll skip the in and we'll go to the out first, because the out kind of leads to the in a little bit. But Mario Anderson, who was RB1, we celebrated him last year. Great season coming up from D2 Newberry.
Yeah.
Opted to go in the transfer portal. I was a little surprised.
Yeah.
Because on the last show when we talked, we were counting him in. We thought he was in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I would think it was literally the next day after we recorded the show, he was out.
Yeah.
He's been upgraded upon. I'll say that. And his spot was no longer available. And I think Mr. Anderson, no offense to him, I appreciate what he did this season, might have had an overinflated amount of self-worth. And I don't think the better than South Carolina offers came in for him. So he ends up at Memphis.
I wonder if, and I've heard this through other people, especially with the QB position, right? They'd say, listen, we're going to the portal to get a guy. We want to give you respect, give you a heads up, let you know. If you want to stay for the competition, cool. If not, we wish you luck and we understand. I have a feeling this might have been one of those issues, because before any of this major buzz happened, we talked. And the day after that last episode, we were rumored for KJ Jefferson and Raheem Sanders, right off the rip.
Right off the rip.
You always say, where there's smoke, there's fire. For that to come out when it came out, the next day he hits the portal, I feel like they may have done him right and say, hey, listen, man,
maybe so.
Hey, do what you did for us.
And I'll say this. I saw enough for Mario Anderson to think well enough of him that he can be an NFL player.
You said you were going to have him in your top 15 or some top 10 next year?
Yeah, and I probably still will. He's going to have success at Memphis.
Absolutely. Well, Watson's gone. We've seen what Watson
Right.
can do, right?
Right. So,
He's only gone
if anything, I'll say this: Memphis is a damn NFL running back factory.
yeah.
So, I mean,
Last 4 or 5 years, right? They've just been pumping him out to the NFL.
right.
He
So, all the way going back to D'Angelo Williams.
Yes.
So, I mean, good luck to him. Wish him no ill will. Hope he has success.
He's looking as a starter, right? Watson's gone.
Right.
And the only gentleman there is the sophomore Sutton Smith, who had 253 yards last year.
Yeah. He's RB1 at Memphis.
Yeah, so I'm with it.
Yeah.
Good luck.
The biggest high-profile transfer out, obviously, was Juice Wells, wide receiver. He's gone to Ole Miss. Ole Miss has just slayed the transfer portal. Between them and Kentucky and Louisville, I mean, those are the top 3 teams, right? In the portal, has to be.
Brom has been just
killing it. But with Juice Wells, I hope he fares better than Sakari Franklin did going there last year out of the portal.
That was health, though. Same thing, like a foot injury. Sakari Franklin had the injury. Never was that right. Now, is he out of eligibility?
I don't think so.
So they're going to have him back next year. That room is
in theory, yes.
And Trey Harris. Oh, my Lord. My Lord.
Yeah. Ole Miss is making a run, and their schedule is very of the SEC schedules. Their schedule is very beneficial.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they get Bama. I don't think they get Georgia. They
Dart's back, so it could be very, very interesting over there.
We'll see. DeAndre Martin, a former 4-star player, transferred to Charlotte. John Darius Morgan, offensive lineman, transferred to UAB. And the aforementioned Mitch Jeter, now kicking for Notre Dame.
Good.
So
gonna have a lot of opportunity, right? With Ryan
good for him, right? Spencer Schrader went there last year, had a very good season.
Yep.
After transferring there from South Florida. So Mitch Jeter, he's a great kicker, man, and I think he's going to be great with Notre Dame. So
yeah. I think he's going to have prime chances to put points on the board and get himself positioned to get,
right.
He's going to be on television every week. So
right. So, but enough about the guys that aren't here anymore. Let's talk about the guys that are here now. And we mentioned, like I said, Rocket Sanders, the big running back from Arkansas, was, correct me if I'm wrong, almost universally rated the number 1 running back entering the season on the NFL draft rankings. He was my RB1 coming into the year.
Oh yeah.
But he was injured for the bulk of the season.
He was bulk. That was also true. He had bulk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, he's a 240-pound running back.
Yeah. That's a big boy. He was what, 225 though, the year before?
Yeah. So we'll see if he gets back down, gets his weight. But I mean, he moved that weight.
Yes.
No doubt. They call him Rocket for a reason.
Yes.
He's fast. So I am looking forward to seeing him there in that running back room. Like I said, Jay Braswell at this point is the only returning champion from last year. All of 70 yards on the ground, maybe 100 scrimmage yards.
Yeah.
He's the returning champion at this point. We got the potential. We got 1 freshman coming in, maybe 2. But Rocket Sanders is definitely, I feel it's going to be RB1 right heading into the season.
There's no
you're going to talk about this running back here. I don't know much about him, but Oscar Attaway III, North Texas, coming in.
Listen, I'm a fan of him in the mean green. I mean, any running back, okay, close to 6 foot, 219 pounds, that averages 6 yards per carry. I'm with it, and it's in the limited snaps. He had 123 snaps for 738 yards, 6 touchdowns, average 6 yards per carry. He was the dude last year, and then this year there's an injury early in the season, and Ayo Attaway came on, and Ayo Adaye came on and took over, the role and kind of just pulled away. But when he was healthy, came back. They were fighting for carries in that room. I think Oscar Attaway III is a perfect compliment to Raheem Sanders.
They weren't done.
No.
they added a third running back who's only got 1 year under his belt, but was a freshman All-American at the FCS level and one of the best. Was he the newcomer of the year, I think, in the MEAC?
Yeah.
From South Carolina State, Jawarin Howell. You watched the tape on him today, man.
Yeah, I watched the tape right before we got on here because I'm like, all right, listen, they got a lot of guys. And this guy, I haven't, South Carolina State, I'm like, well, Mario Anderson was D2. Let's see what this guy is. Lowest, schools running back. Listen, shifty, right? I watched him against Howard, and Howard, who just played Florida A&M and put on a good showing, right? Cut them up for like $160 and 2 scores. This kid, right? He came out the line, went left, it got bottled, made a quick jab step, got to the right, got out to the outside, beat everyone to the outside, and was able to take it to the house. He's shifty, he runs well, he can get low when he needs to. It's a little bit of an upright runner, but the dreads hanging in the background gives me that DeCorian Joyner kind of like vibe again, how he's like the athleticism to him. If Attaway isn't locked in, watch out, because this kid is going to be hungry and wanting some snaps.
And they'll join Juju McDowell in the backfield, who's coming back, like I said, along with Braswell. So that room went from an issue to a strength real quick. I'm still compared who to Derrick Henry?
How?
To Derrick Henry?
Yeah, hey, 6'1", 225. I'm telling you, this kid is physical, and he's got speed.
I'm intrigued. I am intrigued.
I'm going to send you a couple links after the show. You will.
I will have to watch this. I am intrigued now. I really want to watch the spring game now. I was just doing it now just because I had to, but now I kind of want to.
You will enjoy them.
Wide receiver room. Juice Wells out. Amarian Brown out. Xavier Legette out. But we got the freshman Mazio Bennett coming in. We're bringing back Harbor. Harbor Watch will be back next year again, everybody who loved that segment.
Yes.
He's wide receiver 1 now, folks. So we got to get him out of dry dock now. But we got a couple. I know the one you want to talk about, so we'll save that. But let's start with Jared Brown from Coastal Carolina coming over.
This kid, he's going to be that dude that was all over the field, right? He's probably going to be in a slot. He is a Energizer bunny. 6 foot, 190, 12.8 yards per catch. I will take that all day, especially when you're getting targeted over 70 times and 58 receptions. I will take that every single day. And he did it with a slew of quarterbacks because McCall went down with a head injury. He had Garrett Guest come in, and then they had the third stringer when Guest got hurt. So he was playing with, like, literally, guys who were getting no snaps and getting it done. Everybody left. Pickney was kind of like a non-factor. This kid just kept balling. Now you're coming to the SEC. You got some talent up front. We got some talent. We got a QB, possibly a QB, possibly a couple QBs coming in this thing. I think this kid's going to blow up. I think you're going to see a rise. I'm not going to say it like Xavier Legette rise, but I think you're going to see a huge rise out of Jared Brown. People are going to be like, oh, where'd he come from?
What role do you see him? I mean, do you see him being more of the Amarian Brown role, or do you think he's kind of going to take over some of Legette's routes?
Oh, he's going to take over some of Legette's routes.
So
the speed alone would get.
So our slot guy is the guy we're fixing to talk about here.
Yeah, my guy.
Your guy.
Yeah.
And Shane's guy, my partner over at Draft Countdown. He absolutely loves. And I've heard maybe we're having we're not 100%. He's not signed. He did not sign today.
You know why, right?
We're having to deal with some competition here. But Jaden McGowan from Vanderbilt, you love this guy, right? And hopefully he comes on board. But who are we competing with here?
Boston College, my friend.
Man, ain't no way.
Yeah, everybody says that, but Boston College signed Jared Brantley out of Texas Tech. He was supposed to be one of these top dudes in the portal of a wide receiver. And I don't know how, But Portal Hatfield is cooking for BC. But McGowan, I think it comes down to money. What I've read is BC's willing to offer a bigger NIL package. So, but money talks.
They're not spread as thin, I guess, is what South Carolina is right now.
I ultimately think he does stay committed to South Carolina. I do. If he stays, man, oh boy, electricity. He speed, hands. What do you want to call it? The guy who just does anything you need him to do. You can put him in screens. You can put him in end around. He's a special teamer, like a guy that like loves special teams. Like a guy like Smoke Harris. When I interviewed him, he was like, this guy's great wide receiver. And when he says he'd rather play special teams than wide receiver, my eyes perk up. I want this guy on my team. McGowan is that type of dude, right? Like, he will just do anything you got to do to get on the field. And the kid is electric.
So let's say we hang on him. We have lost a commitment to Portal already. I didn't really care about AJ Swan, the quarterback from Vanderbilt.
Dude, I was going to bring up.
Who's gone to LSU. My feelings were not hurt.
Good.
No offense. Maybe he had success at LSU. I don't know. Let's move on.
I didn't want him.
I did.
I don't want him.
I saw it. I'm like, there's a couple other guys out there that I would rather have.
If Vanderbilt's letting you walk, bro, and they're not making a push to keep you.
Well, every quarterback on their team left. So.
Right. So they're starting from scratch, and they were the worst.
Yeah. I mean, Swan left. I can't remember that one guy's name.
To Colorado.
Yes.
Yeah.
That guy. He left, and Ken Seals left. Yeah. So every quarterback on their roster, essentially, that took a snap this year left. Good luck, Clarkley. Let's talk about tight end Brady Hunt from Ball State. I like this guy. Mm-hmm. They have two tight ends on their team. The other, Cozell, went to Louisville, right? Yeah. And Brady Hunt, the younger, more intriguing prospect to me, comes to South Carolina.
Got way more thread on the tire, right? Didn't play last year.
Yeah. But put up big numbers the year before.
Oh, the year before he put up, I believe he had 50-something catches, 46 catches, 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, right? Almost 6 yards per carry. This dude was a stud. An ankle and foot injury kept him out all of last year. Couldn't get back on it.
So we're gonna lose Trey Knox to the NFL, but right. Joshua Simon's coming back. So we'll have Simon, we'll have Brady Hunt, and Kislinskis.
Cozell, right? Tanner Cozell?
No, he went to Louisville.
He went to Louisville. That's right.
Yeah. The guy Elkinis from Florida came over last year. He'll be the third tight end, and then the freshman we got coming in, I expect to compete a little bit there as well.
The freshman and Hunt are both 6'6", monster. Yeah. And so is what's Simon, 6'5"?
Yeah.
So we got some big boys up front.
We got some big guys. Couple of defensive linemen in, one pass rusher here, Kyle Kennard from Georgia Tech. You like this guy, right?
I do like this guy. I think he could be a guy that could kind of instantaneously could be like Bam, right? Like right off the rip. That's what he was for Georgia Tech. He was the guy that kind of the catalyst, the speaker, the guy who cattled everybody up, get them going. I think Kyle Kennard on our team is an instantaneous upgrade.
Yeah. Jordan Strawn is out of eligibility.
Right.
So we'll need some replacement there. And like I said, we got Dylan Stewart. We know he's going to come in and hopefully have instant impact. Kennard can be that kind of steady presence out there, along with a couple of the other guys that are coming back. Another rotational, I think, nice rotational addition, DeAndre Jules from Pitt coming in.
I just hope that Jules doesn't get trapped into that mix like last year. We had those two gentlemen, JT, right? Like we wanted to see him get time. He didn't really get time. And then who was the other gentleman that came over?
Twazama from UAB.
Yeah, like we were hoping that they would get some time,
and never really played.
Nah, so I'm hoping that maybe he's he gets some time and he's not just a spot warmer, and we'll have to see. But I'm good with depth, man. We need depth at a lot of positions, and that was one of them.
I saved the best maybe not the best player for last, but the one I know you wanted to talk about the most. Your guy. Brother of Jalen Kilgore, Gerald Kilgore, only played 1 year at Tennessee Tech, right? Or 2 years?
It was a freshman. No, he was a freshman.
Freshman this year, and instant impact player there. Now he's coming over to play with his brother. So you got to like to see that, right?
I'm just excited because I called this months ago, right? Months ago, I called this. The kid was a quarterback coming out of high school, got recruited to Tennessee Tech as a quarterback. And I'm going to go out there and say, due to politics, he kind of got shelved, right? So they were like, oh, you want to play? You want to get playing time? Switch to defense. Go play defense and safety. This kid went and did a switch, was dominant in, I want to say, like 7 games. He had 35 tackles, 25 of them solo, and he had 5 pass breakups. Like, the kid is an impact player. He is a scorer. He knows how to play with his brother. He knows. They've been playing together forever. I think this is a no-brainer.
If nothing else, like if he doesn't see a whole lot of snaps on defense next year, because we do have, we talked about earlier, the numbers are a lot of guys coming back in that secondary. Instant impact special teams, right?
Oh, day one, yes. He's a type of kid like McGowan. Whatever I got to do to get on the field, I'm not bigger than any moment.
Now, let's talk about some portal guys that aren't here yet.
Okay.
Has been, since he entered the portal, the most logical landing spot for KJ Jefferson from Arkansas has seemingly been South Carolina. Now, I've heard there's a couple other teams in the mix now. Do you still think he ends up here?
I'm 50-50.
Where do you think he might end up, if not here?
I think, and this is what sucks, is I think he was the later QB to enter the portal, right? He put up the thing.
Yeah. Well, he announced he was going to enter the portal, but he never actually officially entered until like 3 days ago.
They announced. Then they announced, when the media announced, he went on Instagram and said, I haven't made a decision yet.
Right.
And then, like I said, he like 2 or 3 days ago, he entered the portal. I think his decision, he's waiting for Cam Ward to make a decision. That is in my opinion, because I think Miami's in play. Yeah. AJ. I think South Carolina is in play. Scavenger is. I feel like Scavenger, the guy in the comments here, he's in my brain because TCU, Texas Christian, they got nothing, right? They just lost their other quarterback, went to the portal. Hoover's the only quarterback there. He goes there. It's instantaneously QB1. But the problem is they're losing a lot of people. Savion Williams at wide receiver is gone. They're going to be thin, and he's going to have to build it from the ground up. I don't think he wants to do that in his final season. That is why I think Miami and South Carolina are kind of 1-2.
Will Howard from Kansas State's also still.
No, he committed. USC, right?
That's the rumor where I thought he was going. I don't know. I hadn't seen the commitment come through yet.
I'm pretty sure that he committed, and that's why the next rumored QB I want to talk about hit the portal.
And that guy was the number 1 quarterback in last year's high school recruiting class, Malachi Nelson. And I'm going to be honest with you, Nino, I was shocked when I saw South Carolina linked to this guy. Really?
You want to know why? You know what he said? The development of QBs over the last 5 years has perked his interest, and this is a legitimate landing spot for him.
That is crazy to me that, they would be in play here.
Have you seen the list of other teams? We have to be one. We have to be one.
Yeah, I was like, Cal Houston was one.
Tulane. But let's look at those schools, right? And I'm not knocking Nelson. I think he's got legitimate talent. I don't know if you go to Tulane and beat out Kai Horton off year 1, right? I don't think he does. He's definitely not beating out Donovan Smith in Houston. Not year 1 with no.
I love Donovan Smith.
Right? He's a dog. And then who just didn't Chandler Rogers just transfer to Cal? I'm pretty sure that the North Texas quarterback went to Cal to start. And they have the Ferdinand the freshman who was there.
Yeah,
So, like, I don't see him beating out those guys. I know he's got a talent, but he is raw. He's like raw chicken. He got nothing to him. And I don't know if Lincoln Riley is really Lincoln Riley. I think he's a facade. Offensive, great mind. He can't develop a quarterback.
He's never developed a quarterback.
He get them all in the portal. And what did he do? The one chance you got the best guy, a 5-star quarterback, to develop at that moment, you buttoned up like a shirt on Friday night, and you hit the portal, and you went and got Will Howard. Will Howard has been rumored since he hit the portal to go to USC. This kid's like, yeah, screw you, I'm out. You told me after Caleb I was the guy.
Yeah. I mean, Caleb is it, right? I mean, and if anything, he regressed this year, right? He's still going to be the number one pick in the draft, but I mean, he regressed a little bit this year. I mean, he had Spencer Rattler. That didn't work, so.
Kyler Murray? Kyler Murray was a dude already, right? Like, he just went to the wrong school in Tech, and he was the best high school football player ever out of Texas. Like, I don't want to hear that he didn't develop Baker Mayfield because he was a walk-on at 2 schools and dominated as a walk-on. Who did he really develop?
I'm intrigued, and let's just hypothetically say he does commit to South Carolina. That competition now, it's a lot of young guys, man, and it worries me a little bit they need a vet, and I don't know if there's one out there.
Unless it's KJ. That's the problem, is we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here.
Right.
And we haven't got a guy.
I mean, a part of me still thinks that I don't think Malachi Nelson ends up here, but I would be super intrigued if he did. And it worked out the last time the quarterback cast away from Lincoln Riley signed up here. So,
I mean, if they don't get one now, they could get one in the Jordan Addison portal. That's what I call it, right? That's the extreme late portal.
This post. Well, that's changed now a little bit because, and this is what's going to be wild. And me and Shane were talking about this the other night on our show. There's a 15-day portal from April 15th to April 30th. And then after that, that's it.
No more.
There's no portaling over the summer. You have to go in them 15 days.
Well, I'm with it because, look, you got from now until April. You got 5 months. If you can't figure it out where you want to go in these 5 months after all the dust is settled and, you know what I mean, and the pieces of the puzzle have been put into place, then, yeah, dude, stick where you are because I don't know what else you need. I'm with it, but I think they could go late in that little 15-day window and steal a guy. I was hoping we got that out the way right away. I mean, I guess there's a few guys that are still kind of out there, but when you got guys like
at this point, if you're not getting someone like KJ Jefferson, let's just say, I'm just even saying if you bring in Malachi Nelson as well, I think you still get you a guy who started 10, 15 games, but isn't looking to be the guy. Just to give you a guy in that room that knows what he's looking at. Because right now you got Dante Reno, who's never played a collegiate snap. You've got Lenora Sellers, who hasn't played a collegiate snap throwing the football in a game against an FBS team.
I got it.
Malachi Nelson, if he comes in, hasn't thrown a significant. Did he even play this year?
Nope, not a single snap.
No snaps this year. So you'd have what? A combined 12 snaps probably in your quarterback room. You need a guy. Who's the guy?
Malik Murphy.
I forgot all about him because they're in on him too.
Give me Malik Murphy because he wants to come here. He said this is one of his destinations. Give me
Malik. Completely forgot about him.
I'm with it. If we can get him, if we can't get KJ and we get Malik Murphy, I'm cool, bro. Let it ride.
And at that point, you just let Malachi Nelson go to Tulane or whatever, right?
Wherever he wants to go. I mean, if he wants to come here and know that he's sitting because Murphy is going to be QB1, and if he can beat out Sellers and Reno after that, then fine. But this kid wants to play. And that I think that's why he's going for the lower end schools outside of South Carolina development. I think he wants to play day one. I don't know if this is the school for him to play day one.
Maybe not.
No, it's gonna be tough. Like if you start going, another guy out there that DJU isn't bad, man.
He's still out there too, isn't he?
He made a visit to Florida State. It's for Cam Ward. It's Florida State or Miami. So I think once that piece falls, but I heard Cam Ward's not committing until after Christmas.
He's holding up the show, man.
Yeah,
he's holding up the show.
Domino. He's the last domino to fall because I'll take DJU for a year without a question.
Wow. It's super interesting, man. I mean, keep up with this.
The guy who went off this year. Went off. Jordan McLeod. James Madison. Jordan McLeod.
Yeah.
He ain't committed to anybody yet. That dude threw 3,000 yards, 30, I think it was 33 combined touchdowns.
You know, I would have punched him into Indiana had not Rourke committed there.
Yeah.
Which is a great move for him,
Absolutely.
I think.
Absolutely.
So,
some of these signings have been great. Like I think Tyler Van Dyke was huge.
Who did Finn sign with? I thought that was a good fit too.
Daquan Finn. Baylor.
Yeah, I thought that was a good fit for him.
David Anaya, whatever his name is, a Kane system.
Yeah.
It's perfect back to that, Mike Leach offense. Just air raid. Just going.
I like and McLeod too. Not McLeod.
McCall.
The guy from Ohio State, McCord to Syracuse, I thought was good.
Yeah, that's good huge for him. And they got the dude from Georgia, Z Hayes, as a wide receiver, right? Like, Fran Brown's a coach, man. He got that rough edge to him. He's 40 grit sandpaper. That dude. I think what he's doing.
If he can recruit to Syracuse,
watch out.
He's going to be okay. Watch out because they'll contend in the ACC.
Yeah, if he can recruit to Syracuse,
if he can get the Georgia system and be able to recruit players to Syracuse, they'll win a lot of games.
Yeah, but he won't last long because as soon as he gets recruits and starts winning, someone will scoop him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
what's our spring schedule going to look like? What do you think we ought to be planning here?
We'll probably do. Well, we're going to do a Senior Bowl one, right?
Correct. Yes.
So we'll do a Senior Bowl one, and we're going to try to lock in that dual interview with Leggett and Rattler. What was they at? But I think we'll do the Senior Bowl. We'll probably do a pre-spring, right? Kind of as we hear a little bit what's going to be filling out of the roster and who's kind of jumping the depth chart there. Obviously, we'll recap the spring. And then it would, kind of, I guess we play it by ear, right? To see.
Yeah. Probably come back around right before the season starts.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's any kind of big news, like, hey, listen, we'll give it. If KJ Jefferson or DJU come, even Nelson, if we get that big QB, we're coming back for an emergency.
Well, we'll do it short if nothing else.
Yeah, we'll do something. But for right now, this is probably going to be the last episode until the Senior Bowl or pre-Senior Bowl.
Yep.
But it's been a great year. I'm glad that we were able to end this season on a positive note. Again, this is pretty much our first live episode in about 8 or 9 weeks. We've been, due to time schedules, we've been recording and then putting it out there. But it was great to have Scavenger in the chat, man. I think in next season we're going to try to make it where we can go live more often because I think we'll get a little more fan interaction. But we're going to try to stay more positive next year. We really, really tried. We tried. Once we hit the boiling point, though, it was I had enough. You had enough, and when you're beating the same horse every week, right? It kind of it gets old. But I think the meter is pointing up. I think the mercury level is rising for us in South Carolina. I think Beamer did a hell of a job in the portal, and we just kind of wait it out. We got one more big hit that we got to wait on, and then we'll go from there. But I think the Senior Bowl episode is going to be a special one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I always look forward to Senior Bowl. Senior Bowl is my time, man.
Yeah.
It's the only thing worth a crap in my hometown. So
I get to see you in the flesh instead of on the screen.
I love it. I love it.
Plus, I get those boiled peanuts this year. I haven't stopped thinking about them. I'm excited. All right, you know the deal. It's the Garnet Roost. I'm your host, Nino Brown. That's my guy, Deep Fried Draft, Brian Bosarge. And this is CFB Nation. We'll be back. Put on your calendar a couple weeks. What it'll be about 6 weeks?
5-6 weeks.
5-6 weeks. We'll be back giving you a little Senior Bowl preview about the Gamecocks and what gentlemen's, what we think the gentlemen there are going to do. So for us two, Garnet Roost, we'll catch you on the flip side.